No offense to any guys in here who have older sisters getting beat up by girls. Tell you what. No, I'm just kidding.
They're
Sorry,
younger
Joey.
than me, and you know
Sorry, Joey.
what can you do?
But Blessing is her name. She's the baby of the family, and I was saved at the age of 6. I remember that Sunday. It was a Sunday afternoon. The preacher preached, and I've heard those same messages over and over again. And when he gave the altar call that day, I knew I needed to respond. I knew that was my chance. I couldn't pass that. And so I went out, and Mr. Needham, whom most of you have met me there at the altar, and led me to the Lord that day. And speaking of the Needhams, I always get the question, how did you meet the Needhams, or how did you get in contact with them? Well, the question is, how did they meet me, or who met who first? Because they were there before I was born. So they were already in Cameroon as missionaries before I was born, so they knew me first before I ever knew who they were. And so, growing up in Sabga is a town, I want to say about 3,000 people. So, I've been there like 2 times. Yeah. So, it's a town about 3,000 people, give or take. And it's about 5, 6, 7,000 AGL, and with beautiful hills.
What's AGL?
Above ground level.
Sea level. Okay.
You're a pilot, you should know this.
Yeah, you guys don't.
Oh, okay.
I was about to ask for those.
How many non-pilots in the room? Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Some of us do know what that means, though.
Well, I had- yeah.
Thank you, Jake. I really appreciate it.
Okay. So, I spent most of my Sunday afternoons on one of those hills. I would just sit up the hill and look down the valley. I really miss it. It was the perfect spot. I really enjoy it. I really seriously knows it. So right around, I want to say 8, 9, 10, I moved to Bamenda. I left Sabga and moved to Bamenda. Now Bamenda is a city of about 500,000 to 600,000 people, and that's pretty much where I lived until I moved back here. So while in Sabga, or while in Bamenda, I would go back to Sabga every so often to help Mr. Needham work on his airplanes. Weekends, some holidays, and for the gearheads in the room, you'd know that when you're in an airplane, just having someone hand you tools goes a long way at the end of the day, because it sometimes feels like you're standing on your head pretty much. And so I want to say I still remember Mr. Needham's hangar, top to bottom. I know where every wrench was, every socket, every screwdriver, and so on. And so working with him, pretty much, hey, I'm in this tight corner, I can't move. Could you hand me a 30 seconds? Could you hand me a quarter inch? Can you hand me an extension? Just things like that. Hell, let's remove this alternator. And then I started asking questions. What's an alternator? What does it do? What's a magneto? What is it for? And just questions like that over time. And that is how I developed interest in aviation. And so every time we finished a major project, he would take it out for a test flight. And then whoever helped him would go on a second flight with him. And so I remember the first time I went for a test flight with him, it sealed everything. It was like, all right, this is it. Aviation it is. Taking that picture from just sitting on top of that hill, looking down the valley, and then repeating that picture over and over and over again, that was it. That's all I wanted to do. I knew that was it. And so when I came home that day, I told Mom, I said, Mom, I found it. She said, what? What I want to do. It's aviation. Now, she knew that we probably couldn't afford it. I don't have a rich uncle somewhere, except he's been hiding from me all these years. I would like to find out. So I don't have a rich uncle somewhere who would have sponsored me through all of this. But she said, let's pray about it. And that's all she said. We will pray about it. And years went by. We just read about it, and went back to school. So the education system in Cameroon is a little bit different. We go from pre-nursery, nursery school, primary school, secondary school, and then high school. It's a little bit different here, I guess. I haven't bothered to find out how it goes here until you go to college, except that. But so I left primary school and I moved to Bamenda to get my secondary and high school done. And during that time, it takes about 7-8 years to go through high school. I developed a lot of interest in engineering. And so if aviation didn't cut it, I was going to be an engineer, mechanical engineer. And so when I graduated high school in 2016, I actually pursued that. I went enrolled in a mechanical engineering program in Bamenda, the University of Bamenda, and I started. I was pursuing engineering because I didn't see any signs of aviation coming around. Now, Cameroon doesn't offer anything aviation-wise for AMPs or pilots, but I could have gone to South Africa. I have an uncle and a cousin there. They do have schools for both mechanics and pilots. I could have gone to Nigeria, which is even closer. I could have gone to Ethiopia. I could have gone to Ghana, and there's a long list of different African countries that do offer aviation-related stuff. But so this is how the Lord worked it out for me to be here. 2015, when Sam Sanderlin was coming back to get his AMP, I eventually opened up to him. I told him about it, and at this point, he's pretty much the only person aside from my mom who had been praying for it for all this while that I told. And he said, well, if there's any place that I would recommend that you get this done, it will be in the States, because there's all kinds of planes here, and there's manufacturing everything. It'll be here. And so he says that, and he leaves. And I don't hear nothing else again. Well, good recommendation, good suggestion, I guess. And so he comes back to visit in 2017, May of 2017. Who does he bring with? Gene. Gene Zastere. Now, for those who don't know who Gene is an instructor at the Tech. And the Lord started putting all the pieces of the puzzle together. And so Gene shows up towards the end of their visit. This was in, I want to say June. So towards the end of June, they came mid-May, and they were going to leave the end of June. And so towards that time, I started communicating with Gene and find out he's an instructor at the Tech. And I also find out he knows someone who knows someone else who knows someone else. And he starts on email traffic. I tell him, hey, this is what I've been praying for all these years, and this is what my desires are. This is the way I really want to go. I'm doing engineering right now, but it's a second choice and not what I really want to do. And so he starts this email traffic and contacts Allison here in Appleton, and pretty much basically the same. The rest is history, because starting from the end of June to August, I was in class. Now, that is not something that happens every day. Normally, this is a process, especially with the previous administration, would have taken somewhere between 6 months to a year for this to happen. But starting from July, well, not July, I want to say the last week or two of June to August, I was here in class. And so my brothers actually, so when I told them what was going on, hey, Gene is here, this is what I wanted to do, and they didn't know until this time that aviation is something I wanted to pursue. And so when I told them, hey, this is what is going on, this is the email traffic that's been going on, and Gene is here, and just laid out everything, they laughed. Hey, we have a dreamer in the house. He's a dreamer. So, but then it didn't end there. It didn't end there. Let's come together and see what we can do for this dreamer. And so they basically paid my flight here. I have no idea how much it cost. My brothers took care of the flight and part of my first semester tuition. And August 12th, I left home. Landed in Chicago August 13th of 2017, right around 2 p.m. And landed in August in Chicago O'Hare with $100 in my wallet. That's all I had, and my brother gave that to me. It wasn't even my own. My brother gave that to me at the airport in Cameroon right before I left. And Gene picked me up. We came up here. I got here on the 13th. I had a test in Appleton the very next day on the 14th. And I,
The placement test for the tech.
yeah, yep. And I had 1 day to rest, move my stuff around, and then I started school on the 16th. In that order. And so, if you, if one of the biggest challenges was jet lag. If you know what jet lag is, your body tells you, dude, it's time. I don't want to go anymore, and your brain goes, it's morning. Let's go. Let's get moving. That was quite challenging, because right now with the daylight savings we are 7 hours behind. So I moved 7 hours back in time from what I'm used to, and good luck fighting that. But anyway, first semester went on smoothly. Now, with $100, you can't get a license, you can't get a car, even if you get one. Good luck driving it around. So I ended up with a bicycle, and I didn't even buy it. Someone handed a bicycle to me, and I still have it. I love it. That was pretty much what I had for the first year. I had that bicycle for everything the first winter. It would be negative 20 out with a wind chill, and I need groceries. All right, bundle up, let's go. Hope I won. So, but that was interesting. That was interesting. Fast forward to April of 2018. Barely 8 months after I moved here, April 6th was a Friday. I remember this very well. It was a Friday afternoon. I came back from school a little bit early that day. It was a Friday, it was a weekend, so we got off early. And I didn't sleep well that night. And I just decided, well, I'm not a very big nap person then. I am now. I need my I need my naps if I go to work. But I decided, well, let's try this. I lay down for a while, about an hour, and I woke up to a message my cousin sent me. The first message I saw was, "Please accept my condolence." I was like, what? What kind of message is this? And then a second one came in, and I was like, this is very strange. This is some kind of greeting that I'm not used to. It's I don't know if there's a new style of saying good afternoon or saying accept my condolence. So I called my brother and was like, hey, what's going on? What's this? Come to find out, my dad had passed away that morning. And my brother knew about it, but then he told everyone else back home not to tell me because I had classes that day, and he didn't want to ruin my day in school. And so I really appreciated that. And 2 weeks later, to the day actually, April 21st was a Saturday, about 2 a.m. My mom passed away as well. And it was, I don't want to say it was, I was expecting it, but my mom had been suffering from high blood and diabetes for over 17 years. And so with my dad's funeral, everything going on, I called one person. I specifically instructed that person, hey, take pictures and videos of everything that's going on. I just want to know. I just want to see what's happening. And I was watching closely. In every single picture that he sent, I was looking to see where my mom would be. And I didn't see her in any of them. And so I called this guy up, and I was like, what's happening? I haven't seen her in any of these pictures. Where is she? And the response I got was, God, dude, you have to be strong. I was like, I don't understand this. What's happening? She was dying. And later that morning, she was no more. It shattered my world. It turned things upside down for me. I couldn't attend the funeral because with AMP school, the FAA had, I believe they still do, they have hour requirements. You have to be in class for a certain amount of hours to get your AMP. This happened in April. we were going for summer holidays in May, and I couldn't leave. Now, if you missed over 25 hours, you're getting kicked out of the program. I couldn't afford to get kicked out of the program. I specifically requested if I could take a week off. Well, if I come back, I'll have to take the entire semester again, which means pushing it a year forward. I couldn't afford another semester. It wasn't like I was getting sponsorship from somewhere. I was basically paying myself as I go. And so I missed both of their funerals. I couldn't make it. Life goes on. Anyway, so graduated AMP school 2019, and then came back for avionics right the next fall of what was that, 2019. Then I graduated in 2020. Got my avionics in 2020, but then July of 2019, I had a job where I still have it now, working with Air Wisconsin. I started off as a mechanic, working third shift. Now, for anybody who is in the airline industry here, or who thinks to be in the airline and wants to rent as mechanic, when you start off, it's third shift. You work third shift, a graveyard shift, unless you negotiate some kind of a drug deal with unless you negotiate some kind of a drug deal with your supervisor or manager. It is third shift. So I started off on third shift, and we went from 9:30 p.m. to 7:30 in the morning. Now I'll clock out of Appleton at 7:30 in the morning. Classes started in Oshkosh at 7:30, so I would be half hour to 45 minutes late for class every single day. Now, speaking of drug deal, I negotiated one. I basically just explained the situation to my instructors here at the tech, and they were like, well, it's up to you. You have to catch up. Now, thankfully, with avionics, you don't have the hourly requirements. So I could miss the day. I just have to work extra to get all the extra hours. And so that went on. Oh boy, I have a confession. I got addicted.
Pumping iron.
Man, very dangerous drugs.
Pumping iron.
Coffee. Caffeine. I would take, there you go. That's a good drug, actually. It keeps you awake. I would take, dark chocolate, real dark chocolate, and I would take that with about 6 to 7 cups of coffee a night just to stay awake, because I work through the night and then I have to be in school all day, all the morning, and then I do it again. I remember at one point, during the semester, I have 3 hours. 3 hours between leaving class, getting food, getting rest, and then back to school again, or back to work again, and then I'll do that all over again. And so it came to a point where I would pick up an empty coffee mug, clean, and taste coffee. Just empty coffee mug, and I would taste coffee, and I was like, you know what? It's time to make some life decisions here. It's really time to make some changes here.
And how long did you do that for?
That went on for the first semester of AMP school, so we're talking fall all the way to December.
Fortunately, avionics is really engaging material, and it's easy to stay awake.
Yes, except oh, absolutely, absolutely, especially when you're in Joe's classes. Wow.
Yep. I didn't work third shift, and I couldn't stay awake in those classes. So.
Yeah, and if you know anything about Joe, he's a great instructor. He's a great guy. He knows his stuff. He's very knowledgeable. I think some of us came out. We think he thinks in ones and zeros. He is that knowledgeable. But the problem is, he's up here with his knowledge, and we're down here, and he just keeps going that way. So yeah, it's really kind of hard to stay focused. But yeah, so that went on for that semester. I eventually Oh, negotiated another drug deal. But eventually, I was fortunate to get moved to second shift, which was a little bit easier for me. Basically, so the way Wisconsin goes, Wisconsin is a union. Well, the mechanic part of it is a union, and every so often you get a shift change. So when we change in shift, you have to beat and you beat your shift based off of your seniority. So basically, if you're the lowest and the bottom, you get what everyone else don't want. And so when that happened, I was the lowest at the time. So I went up to the guy and looked everything else, and I was like, all right, this will work perfectly fine for me with my schedule, school-wise and work-wise. So I went up to the guy who I knew was going to take that line. I was like, okay, look, this is what is going on. This is what is going on. This is what I've been through. You've been through this yourself. He told me he's been through it. And so I was like, hey, if you don't mind, please let me have this line. And he was gracious enough to let me have it. So he stayed on third shift, and I moved to second shift, which was a lot easier for me. And so the second semester, because avionics is just 2 more semesters. So I struggled through the first one. The second one was just easy, and I ended up graduating May 2020. Got my avionics, and right now I'm in the process of, well, I took a year off. Phew, I couldn't. I'm in the process of getting back into UWO. I am going back for a bachelor's degree in aviation management if I get accepted, which I'm hoping to get that done. So I'm just waiting back for a confirmation email if I need to send in any more documentations and so on. So yeah, and that in a nutshell is who I am and where I'm at now. At the beginning of the year, I got what I want to call a promotion, if you will, because I left the hangar. I now work less time and I get a pay raise. So, well, to me, it's a promotion. I work less, get paid more. I'll take that. So, and so far, I'm enjoying it. It is awesome. Yes, but not the same department. He's a specialist. He doesn't like to be called a specialist, but I think he is. He's analysis specialist and maintenance control. So my job title is basically to make the aircraft fly or break it. Simple. I make the last call. I don't like what I hear over the radio or over the phone. Ground the aircraft. I like what I hear. I sign it off. I send it on its way. I wish it was that simple, but that's basically what it is.
So you look at the MEL and.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's a lot of responsibility for somebody who's been in A&T for how long?
A year and a half.
Yeah.
Yep.
How old are you?
Huh?
How old are you?
21.
He's got enough
You laugh.
experience to be
Okay.
35.
Well, here's
You do? You have enough experience to be 35?
35 years
well, all right. So
That's impressive.
I didn't think you were 21.
You thought he was older, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did.
okay.
Exactly.
Let's forget the 21 part of it. I'll be 22 in June. How about that?
Still no.
Doesn't fly, Edwin. Doesn't fly.
I'll be 22 in June. Okay.
While everybody's distracted, I'll comment a little bit. I remember Gene working to get you here in the program. You did a lot of work for it. But also, he did ride his bicycle in the winter. I can attest to that. That was his mode of transportation.
You lived in a trailer.
Yeah, I lived in a motorhome in the hangar for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. There's a motorhome parked in the hangar. That's where I lived for a year and a half. And then eventually moved into an apartment where I'm at now in February.
How did you multiply your $100?
Good question. Good question. So I lived way, way below my means. Way below my means. If I made $100 for easy math, 10% went for my tithing and 10% to myself. So I had $10 for that, $10 for myself, and 90% went towards school, basically. So I came up with all kinds of ways to save money. I cut my own hair. I cut my own hair for, I don't know, 3 years. and so just to save as much as I can. So that's how I multiplied it basically. And obviously, all along the line, the Lord brought in.
Joey would never do that. Look at that hair. He'd starve before he'd not get a haircut.
I don't know.
But along the line, the Lord brought in a lot of help from different people as well. So, questions? I'm not talking.
When's your birthday?
Huh?
When's your birthday?
That's a secret. No, I'm just kidding. June 3rd.
June 3rd?
Yeah.
So my motivation behind this was I know that most of you who don't know him that well are going to go, oh, this guy must be 30, you know, with all the experience that he has. And here he is, 21 years old. And so when Edwin first came here and we first started talking, I told Edwin, we kind of had a conversation about race. And I told Edwin, I look at you and I don't see a black man, I see a foreigner. And this foreigner comes to America and accomplishes in 3 years what takes most of us 10. That's why I wanted him to give his testimony. Because I want to say to you and to myself, what's wrong with us? Look at what he accomplished in 3 years. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? That was the whole purpose of me giving that testimony. Look what you can accomplish in 3 years if you actually are hungry enough to go after it. Now, go ahead, feel free to ask me some questions.